Yo, everybody. Good to see you. We have a very special webinar for you today. This is a contractor radio episode. Those of you that are familiar with our podcast out there, we have a podcast that helps contractors become better leaders so they can grow their businesses and scale them and achieve that personal and financial freedom that they were after so they can live the lifestyle that they want. And I've got some special guests on today. I don't usually have them like right away, but we do today. And I want to introduce Bruce Blomberg. Bruce, good to have you on board.
Pleasure to be here, Jim. We are very excited to be on this webinar with you. Thank you for hosting us, myself and Jay, and we are ready to dive in.
Awesome. And we've got Jay Haynes, owner of Ohm Construction, kind of a bit of the brainchild with Bruce behind the selling solar thing. Jay, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, first off,
not too much though. We got a whole webinar slide on that, so highlight.
I do have a tendency to ramble. Thank you. Just kidding. No, I first off, thank you for letting us be on the show and being a part of this. This is awesome. I love anything I've ever done with you. It's also always great. But no, I'm really excited. Like I said. And like Bruce said before, we have a lot of information to share with you guys about this amazing sort of revolutionary product that I really feel like I can use that word that we've re-engineered and we've rethought a lot of how you view solar, and I'm excited to share it.
Yeah, it's actually like why I wanted to do this. I know you very well. You're one of the most ethical people I know out there. I can actually trust you, which is something that can be a little bit hard to find in our industry. And this concept of solar has always been this difficult area for a roofer to step into because there's just some things they don't know. And you said, hey, let's do a podcast about this. We did one about 2 months ago or so, and it was well received. Like we had tons of comments, lots of people talking about it. And then Bruce reached out to me and said, hey, let's do a deeper dive. Let's like dive deep into this, like give people some of that extra information that they were looking for. We noticed we were getting a lot of questions on our demo calls that were things that we could maybe answer in this webinar. So that's the goal today. We're going to walk through this a little bit today with you guys that are our listeners. Those of you that are viewing live out there, we don't usually do that either, but we are live today. And so hang out. We got some amazing stuff for you at the end. This is something that you want to watch the whole thing if you have any inkling of being in solar, because we're going to protect you from some things, and then we're going to inform you on some things that you should probably do that would help you make it a lot easier. You guys ready to go?
We're ready.
Go.
All right. We're going to go ahead and share a screen here and get rolling. So today's webinar, the secrets to launching a wildly profitable and ethical solar company. And I usually just don't go for that word secrets. It's one of those words that seems a little hypey to me. Like, hey, man, we know something you don't know, right? But this is actually the case with this one. There is some things that are going on out there in the solar world that we're not real educated on. We just kind of take the word of people, and we're going to go ahead and open up the veil and say, hey, here's Pandora's box. Here's everything that's going on. Make sure that you guys understand some of those situations that are out there. So without further ado, let's get rocking and rolling. Hopefully, there we go. So first things first, these guys are from Selling Solar Solutions. The fine logo, like it was awesome looking, did a great job on it. And it is who they are. So if you're looking for them, you might take a note right now. Right now in selling-solar.com. That's the website. You could be even look it up, but not right this second. Look it up after. You're going to want to pay attention here today. And I am Jim Johnson. And it's funny, like I do this podcast, but I don't think I've ever shared like historically, like what I've done and stuff like that. So maybe this might be important to some of you guys, but I've been in the contracting world. I had 15 years of being a contractor. With annual revenues of 25 million plus, highest year being 41 million. 5 years as director of sales at AccuLynx. So if you're a roofer, you probably know who AccuLynx is. They actually bought my software from me called Silver Lining, and we integrated it into AccuLynx to allow for the sales or front end side of things. That's what it was. And then they said, hey, why don't you be director of sales? And I did for 5 years. It was my job to make a thing, and I think I did. It's out there pretty good nowadays. 10 plus years of coaching now, almost 11, thousands of contractors with over $6.2 billion in revenue in 2023 alone. So we've coached a few people and grew a few people. And I get more joy from seeing people not only get that success they're looking for, but living that lifestyle that they're trying to achieve. There was a big epiphany for me in this contracting world that there is actually an order and blueprint to building and scaling an amazing business. So I went and wrote a book about it. Crazily enough, it became a bestseller, which is really weird. I was hoping like, man, if I sold 10 books, that'd be a big deal. But it's thousands now, which is pretty wild. Founder of the Contractor Collective community. Another thing you could write down and say, hey, I want to go look that up. It's a free community for contractors where you can come in and ask questions and get things solved. If you can hear my dog in the background, I apologize. Wife on a walk coming back in. So speaker at over 100 industry events. So I get to speak an awful lot. It's something I really enjoy to do. Created the Contractors Training Room, which is a learning platform on the Contractor Collective. Thousands of salespeople and leaders on there. And then the host of this Top 5 Contractor Podcast, Contractor Radio. So that's kind of me and my background. Let's hear a little bit from Jay. Jay, give us a little bit of who you are so that people can understand why this might be valuable to them.
Absolutely. I got started in roofing at a really young age, actually. My first job ever was the kettle loader for a hot mop crew. That shows how old I am. I do have great genetics, though, so I still look like I'm 20. I am not. The hot mop crew was an experience. I did that for 2 years, actually, because I was able to lie about my age and get really good money in the summers in high school. And because I mean, nobody questioned the white guy. Everything okay?
Yeah, it is now. You continue on. I'm just going to step off screen for a second, and I'll be right back. Okay.
Oh, okay, sounds good.
You keep explaining. All right.
Absolutely. I have been in. I went to college because I never wanted to do roofing again after working on the crews for about 3 to 4 years. Ended up right back in roofing because the opportunity is amazing. You get to help so many people. Created home restoration. You know, a lot of you are familiar with my company. We do quite a bit of volume. We're in quite a few states. I've been able to acquire 3 other roofing companies through that home journey, and it's a really fun journey, fun process. I actually scaling companies is just something that I've been able to do. I've done well. I've built and exited, or currently am still active in 14 different companies. How about 3 of those are nonprofits? And one of the coolest things I have is I just got sick of using gutter subcontractors in one market, and I built and scaled a $2 million gutter company just because I stopped using gutter contractors. And it's just something that I've always loved, and I'm about taking opportunities and jumping into opportunities. Multifamily, something I'm very heavily involved in as an investor and owner. And I love the cigar thing here. I had no clue what to put. I put that funny, and then my team actually put it on here. So I am a cigar fanatic. I love a good cigar. That's my vice. But I didn't expect that to actually be. That's pretty funny.
That's great.
The one thing that I did view on opportunities is solar. I jumped on solar really quick. I learned all of the bumps and bruises very quickly, as we'll get into, and I'm really, really, really proud of selling Solar Solutions. This is a company that I'm probably the most excited about. Close your ears if you work for me in any other industry or company that I have, but because I really am about making a difference. That's my nonprofit side. That's why I like roofing in the first place. And I'm also really about helping people change their lifestyle. I came from nothing. I was very blessed, and I've been able to build a nice life for myself, and I love seeing other people do that.
Awesome. And all you people that work for Jay, you know he's a visionary. He's always excited about the newest shiny thing. So don't worry, like it's cool. All right. Hey, Bruce, tell us a little bit about you and your history. Like you are the solar guy. Like that's the thing here. You're going to be doing most of the talking here today. And share with us a little bit of your background in the solar world.
Yeah. My name's Bruce Blomberg. I have been in the solar industry for, at the end of this year will be my 10-year mark. I have worked and operated a lot of different companies, whether it's sales organizations, consulting companies, install companies. I was the director for a company called Storm Ventures Group and their solar division for 2 years. That's where I initially met Jay, so I've known Jay for a few years. I've trained over 400 and some odd roofing companies across the country along my way, thousands of sales reps, and I've closed myself down hundreds of solar projects along the last 10 years. So I've really understood exactly how to navigate through this industry. There's been a lot of ups and downs. There's been a lot of learning curves. And I think the most important thing is understanding exactly how to pitch this product to a homeowner the correct way, the ethical way, the moral way, because no matter what, it's always going to be fruitful for you as a sales rep or as a contractor or business owner. And we knew that there was a lot of pitfalls in the industry. So when I left SVG, first person that came to my head and the first person that I wanted to partner up with was Jay. And I had a bunch of contractors kind of knocking on my door, but Jay was the one that stood out to me the most just because of who he is as a leader, and who he is as a mentor. And I cherish our relationship a lot. And we've come a long way. We started out as just partnering up and allowing myself to help out and boost his solar company. And here we are today, a couple of years later, and we have built a really awesome platform for contractors to be able to escape this EPC solar dealer model, which is really ruining the industry, and allow them to bring solar sales and installs in-house pretty seamlessly.
Yeah, I think it's one of the things that has really bothered me about the whole solar industry is like you got a bunch of sales guys out there selling something really kind of based off of an interest rate more than anything else. And they don't know the product. They don't know, how things work there. It's like one little faction over here of sales go sell this thing, but they don't. I feel like it would be hard to sleep at night. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like it's a lot of lack of character and ethics out there, which is why I can see you joined up with Jay. Like, all of you listening, you listeners of Contractor Radio, if you have people that aren't coming, if you have people coming to you and saying, I want to work for you, that is probably because of two reasons. One, they have greed and you have the ability to make them financially successful, or two, they have high character. And that person that has high character, usually that relationship lasts a lot longer. So think about that from your leadership perspective out there. And well done on your part, Jay. So today's promise, and I want to make a promise to you guys today that as we go through this webinar, you're going to learn the secrets that selling solar has, the strategies they have, and on how to build an ethical and wildly profitable solar company by ditching the EPC dealer model and bringing solar installs in-house. It's something we can do. We do roofing installs in-house. Why can't we do solar installs in-house? It's just learning a little bit of a different product. And I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's also not hard. It's like just some work. We got some work to do, get the work done. And if you have a roadmap to follow, it makes it a lot easier. So let's talk a little bit about that roadmap today. Now, there's one very important part of this. Those of you that are watching online, those of you that are registered for the webinar, you'll want to stick around today. You're going to receive two extremely valuable bonuses at the end of this. They've shared with us, said, hey, we want to do this. I think you're going to find a lot of value in them. We'll get to them as this goes on. And then finally, and here, we have them right here, free current state analysis and the profit calculator. I could have been a little bit smoother at that. But you're going to get these two assets whenever you get done. We'll have a link for you to follow. You can just apply for it, and we'll give you this free current state analysis and profit calculator. And it's the current state of your business. We'll talk more about it. And then how could I calculate profit on the work that we do? Last request before we get into the meat of the webinar here, don't multitask during this. I know that you're on your phones, probably some of you watching it. I know some of you may be at your desktops, and there's a billion things going on. As a matter of fact, mine is right here. It's face down, like I put it face down over here, and all notifications off, volume off. I want to be totally into you guys, and so hopefully you're totally into this. So try to avoid any distractions during this because you're really going to want to pay attention. That's the whole point of webinars and things like that, is to get something valuable that you can use for yourself. So this industry, the solar side of it, has been dominated by the EPC dealer model for years, a very long time. And they kind of did their own thing for a long time out there. They had these sales organizations that they would recruit and slightly train and put them out there, and they would go sell like crazy, door knocking all over the place. And what they found, they found out that they had a hard time converting. There was actually data on this. That it was a hard time getting people to say yes to a sit down, and then hard time getting them to convert. And so they got the bright idea of going after us. We have trust. We have this trust with our clients that gets us in the door so that we can have a conversation about this. And they found out that they were 3 times more successful at selling people through our roofing sales organizations. And they went, great, we're going to go after these roofers. Unfortunately, there's problems with that. We're going to talk about that today. But that's what I see. How about you guys? Like, is that kind of what you've seen over the years with this EPC model?
Absolutely. And I talked about it the last time we were together, Jim. The EPC model is very attractive at its very surface. And it was to me. I jumped in it, and it was a mess, as you know. But I wanted to sell solar. I have the customer base. I have the trust with my customers. I have a massive customer book. And as somebody really wisely said, every solar lead, I'm going to quote Josiah Atkins, every solar lead is a roof lead. And that is the truth. And so I was ready to jump on board, and I learned really fast that if you are a successful contractor, you pride yourself in quality of customer experience and quality of install. Those are not anything on the radar of an EPC, I assure you.
Yeah, the EPC model is kind of based around one thing. We want to make as much money as we can, as fast as we can. And really the growing and trying to scale something faster than they can actually keep quality and success with. So anything you want to add, Bruce?
Yeah, there's a lot of, like Jay said, it looks pretty on the outside. It's kind of like the Mona Lisa. It's really beautiful from far. The closer that you get, the uglier it becomes. And the reality is they don't really have any bandwidth or really motivation to help you with any sales support, training, anything. They are just there to install the job. Their job is to onboard as many sales organizations to sell their product for them as possible. And they don't really have the bandwidth. So the communication is poor. There's a lot of different things that are the pitfalls of the industry. And we were stuck in that system for a long time, myself and Jay. And we said that we've got to find a way to get out of this because of all of the problems that it was bringing to our company. And as a contractor, I know that Jay can attest this, but as a roofing contractor or any contractor out there, your reputation, I know for a fact, is the most important thing. And anytime the process is taken away from your hands after you sell a project at the kitchen table with Mrs. Smith, if the installation is taken out of your hands, your reputation is at risk every single time you sell that job. And all it takes is one bad review, and that contractor says, nope, the couple $1,000s that I'm making off of this thing is not worth this headache. And a lot of contractors are put in this system and don't know how to get out of it. Right. So
yeah, that's where I come in. I have to come in and help them get out of it before they go bankrupt. Like that. I've had at least 20 different clients that we've had to go through that with because they got into this model. It wasn't everything that was promised. It is very attractive. I agree with you guys. Like, man, just come and sell it for us. We'll put it all on. You don't even have to worry about that. You're like, yeah, that sounds wonderful because we have a great sales team, but then fulfillment lacks. And Bruce, you made a big point there. Our reputation is our brand. It truly is. And if our reputation is at risk because we're leaving it up to somebody else, we're risking our brand, which is probably our most valuable thing that we have for businesses. So we see a lot of struggles out there with the solar world, and we talked about a few of them right there, but you have this lack of control that's going on with your installations. We talked about insane dealer fees. Like, we haven't hit that one yet. Time out for 1 second. Somebody's got a phone dinging like crazy. If we can turn the volume down on that, or whatever's pinging in the background there. Insane dealer fees, like, you can, as much as 35 to 41% of the job is a dealer fee. That's theft. Like, to me, that's theft. That's literally like, I'm going to steal your tax credit from you. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to steal the tax credit and go out and do this. And if I get in trouble for any of that, I didn't call anybody specifically out, so leave me alone. It's the truth of the matter, and it is absolutely unnecessary. High red line costs, and even just the fact that there is a red line. It's like this deceptive thing that's put in place so that you don't have clarity on how things work. And so you don't understand material costs, labor costs, and all the other things that go along with it. You just, hey, sell at this number and you're good, right? Long installation timelines, like, takes forever. Lack of communication from installers, which is ridiculous, and always last to get paid on the job. Like, we're the first to go and do something, but the last to get paid. That doesn't work out real well for anybody that runs a contracting business. And so, Jay, you went through all of this with your EPC with your roofing company, working with and through an EPC. Anything else you want to add to this that, hey, these are some of the things that we really struggled with? And those of you that are listening, while Jay's kind of putting this together, those of you that are listening, is there anything you've struggled with? Like, I know some of you that are on here are probably in this position where you might be working with an EPC company right now, or you have, and it was a bad situation. You got out, and you're just like scared of the whole solar world at this point. What were some of the things that you dealt with? Feel free to put them in the comments there. You have the ability to chat to us. We cannot hear you, but if you chat to us, we'll see it. And so if we're missing anything, let us know. Go ahead and put it in the comments. Jay, anything?
Yeah, and I want to apologize. I think the cell phone chime was coming from my end, and I didn't realize it. It wasn't my phone. I just got a new MacBook that I turned on today, and my team's been trying to figure out how to get the alert thing off. But you guys get to see how many texts I get a day. I think it's fixed now. I apologize. We had no.
You're good.
All right. EPC model, lack of control is the first thing on this, and it is for a reason. And that slide to the right is exactly how I was. I wanted to rip my hair out, a lot like I was just dealing with this alert thing going on. I'm not the most technical guy. The lack of control of my installations was one of the Achilles heels in that system. I would have a level of expectation set with the customer. I didn't
based on what they had told you, though, right? Like, they said, hey,
not told me, Bruce. I'm sorry, Jim. I'm talking about signed contractual agreements that actually itemize this stuff out of, hey, we're going to fulfill A, B, C, D, E. Cool. I have that in a contract with you guys. Now I'm going to go turn to my customer and say, hey, they're going to fulfill A, B, C, D, E, which was always a weird thing to me. Is like, oh, we have this partner we're working with. I don't think the customers ever really understood it, but they trusted us, so they went with it. And then those things wouldn't happen. It would be like A, D, we'll wait on B, C. It never happens. And it was just a nightmare. And Bruce can really dive into it because I partnered with Bruce very early on. I said, Bruce, make my sales guys solar machines. And he poured his heart into training my guys, which meant every issue, he was getting blown up. What is going on? What is going on?
Yeah, we're here to try to make solar great again. And, the biggest hurdle, we're seeing on this slide right here is really, there's a lot more than just this, but these are the main ones. And the problem is with all these big installers out there that are kind of dominating the industry in this EPC dealer model, is you're at the mercy to their financing. You're at the mercy of their equipment. You're at the mercy of their timelines. You're at the mercy of their crews, and everything within, you're at their mercy and you have no control, right? So what's going to happen is all of these big EPCs are going to promise you the world. They're going to tell you that they're going to give you the fastest install times and they've got the lowest red lines in the country. Well, what happens is they inflate you at a really high red line cost, which is essentially your cost of goods. But we know right now that solar equipment is at an all-time low. right now because of the overproduction that's happened over the last 2 years. But guess what doesn't go down? Your red line never will go down, right? So they promise you the world, and it never really comes to fruition, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to onboard as many sales organizations as possible, and they just don't have enough hands in the pot to get your project done the way that they promised you it was going to get done when you signed up with them. And not to mention these massive dealer fees. So what happens is these big box install companies, they partner up with these big box finance companies because they incentivize each other to partner up. And these big box finance companies, they know that these big installers that are dominating in 50 states, they only can use their financing. Well, what happens is these sales reps are selling these 4.9% interest rates, which is right now the lowest in the country. But what they fail to let the homeowners know is that there's this 40% plus dealer fee attached to the front end sticker price. Okay. And these are all of the problems and the pitfalls of the solar industry, is that the end consumer is not getting an ethical product, because right now there's 5 to 6 different people / companies making money off of their investment. And that's before we even tack on this massive dealer fee from these finance companies.
Yeah, we're going to get into that one in a little bit more detail here in just a minute. So let me get us moving forward here. So something has to change, right? Like there's all these problems out there. Roofers are dealing with it. Actually, even like sales organizations that are working through those EPC companies are dealing with it. And so something had to change, and needed a better way. It needed to be created. And I've been looking for one for a long time. I have avoided solar like the plague. If I contractor that wants to get into solar, I'm like, there's only one way to do this, to take it on, be in full control, and learn it like you do anything else. And I've helped several contractors install that type of system into their world, but it's a big thing. Like you have a lot to learn. Takes a long time. I mean, the average amount of time is probably a year to a year and a half to get everything in place to actually be able to produce what you need to produce. And so it tends to be a little less enjoyable to take that much time. And as looking through what you guys have put together, you shorten that time up dramatically. You create it like a better way. Like, hey, here's all the stuff. It's all out. We're going to talk a little bit more about that today, but that was one of the biggest problems. The other thing is, for me, I think rack and panel systems are ugly. I'm not a big fan of them. Like, I get it. That's cool. We should put them on. But I also came across a shingle out there. It's a solar shingle, and was proposed with that. And I went, okay, so I got this solar shingle thing that's integrated into the roof system, looks a million times better. It's far less expensive than a Tesla roof. And we have this selling solar system. Like, put these two things together and it's magic. It's going to be unbelievable. So
yeah, if I could chime in on that too, the beauty in that product, especially because we're dealing with a lot of roofing contractors, is that there is always going to be the aesthetic purpose and reason as to why a homeowner might not want to go solar. And the efficiency has come a long way, as you know, Jim, because you host a product that is a great product for the solar shingle. And we know that the traditional, roof and panel racking system is going to be a little bit more efficient, but it's really good to be able to host and offer both products to homeowners when needed.
Yeah, that's the key. Like, hey, we can go either way. These are the two different options. And that was one of the things that I thought was a problem with solar too. I had no options. It's like, here, this is the system. That's all you got. Now there's some options, which makes it actually easier to sell, I believe, whenever you're out there and going, hey, this is an option that costs a little bit more. This is an option that costs a little bit less. If they really want it, they're going to pick one or the other. And usually they'll want the better one, to be honest with you. So created a better way. This is where the idea behind selling solar solutions came from. We're sitting there like, hey, we've got this thing. We're doing it in-house. That thing's running pretty smoothly. Can we help other people do this? And we're going to get into the rest of that story here in just a minute. But there's a main thing that people need to understand. And what is that, Bruce? Like, let's let you share that, because I think it's more important coming from you.
Yeah, the bottom line is, you can bring solar sales and the installations in-house just like you do with roofing. It's completely doable. And a lot of people have this mindset that they can't take on this new task to be able to bring the installations in. So this is why a lot of contractors and sales organizations have been stuck in the EPC dealer model, because they don't know. And they don't believe that it's possible to bring in the installations because of all of these false narratives that have been coming up. And
false narrative. We should talk about those.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about myth number one. I need EPCs to facilitate engineering, procurement, and construction. That's what EPC stands for. Any of you out there wondering what an EPC is? They are the ones that engineer the system, procure the materials and accessories, and perform the construction. That's why they have the name EPC. And a lot of us from the roofing world go, I have to do that because I don't know any of that stuff.
Yeah, and really what's been happening is there's no other option, right? So everyone in the solar industry knows that the EPC model is a failing model. I mean, you've got some of the biggest EPCs that have been the largest EPCs, I won't mention any names, that took away their proposal software for their clients. And now their clients have to purchase their own proposal software. Are they supposed to still go back to that same install company? But there's no other way that's ever been presented to sales organizations or contractors other than rely on me to do the install and you just do the sales. And you're just going to divide this. But the reality is, and especially as someone that either understands the solar industry as a sales organization or a contractor that's currently facilitating their own roofs and the installations with the sales, you can bring this whole process fully in-house without relying on someone else to take the control away.
Exactly. All right. So that's myth number one. And that's false narrative that's distracted us from what we're supposed to do. Myth number two, I can't bring installs in-house because my crews don't know how to install solar. They're too dumb to learn anything else.
You know, this one actually hits a little home for me because when we first built this company, we were building a training course. And we wanted to put an install course together. But my first objection to Jay was, well, all of these guys aren't going to have in-house solar crews. How are they going to do this? And Jay, do you remember what you said to me?
Go for it.
You told me that you didn't have to have the in-house crews. A lot of roofing contractors necessarily don't also have in-house crews. They can rely on sub crews to just facilitate the labor. So same process here is you can still bring installs in-house, even without holding your electrical license, master electrical license in-house, even without having the in-house crews. You can sub out the work to the contractors that do hold those licenses. And do you understand how to perform that task of the labor?
Yeah, it's exactly what we do in roofing. I would gather that 90% of roofing company owners and even their sales managers, general managers, you wouldn't want them out there doing your roof, to be honest with you. So they have to have crews, and some of them have some in-house crews that do work, but the majority are subcontracted crews that come in and do the work and are expected to know what they're supposed to know when they come in. There are thousands and thousands of solar subcontractors that are out there too that we can find, and we can actually also teach some of our own crews how to do this stuff if they want to grow and become maybe more well paid than they already are, which they're paid really, really well. That's awesome. All right, so that's myth number two. Myth number three, it's not worth the headache to do this. It just seems easier to sell and pass on to the EPC.
Well, no one lazy has ever been successful in business.
Amen. Yes, I love that one. That one's good.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, anyone that's a roofing contractor out there that's listening to this, you know, just imagine selling a roof and having someone else come in and facilitate the entire process, and you just walk away. How much more of a headache that's going to be than the headache of thinking that you can't install your own roofs, right? So it's the same concept. It's the same exact concept, just a different product, and we make it really seamless to bring both sales and installs in-house. Just when you use
the word worth, like that's a big thing to me. And worth tends to be something involved with time savings. Like there's that aspect of things, but there's also this financial aspect. Like, hey, is it worth me going through all this hassle, which isn't really that big of a hassle? It's just knowledge you may not. It's something you just don't know yet. Once you know it, you're like, oh, that's not a big deal. But is it worth going through all of that from a financial standpoint and from a time saving standpoint?
Well, you're gonna get to see just how lucrative it is if you stay to the end, and we get to go through that analysis and profit calculator with you, because that gives you real numbers, and that actually is based on your current company, and it's really custom tailored to you. It's actually really awesome. So I'll let you just get that for
Okay,
yourself.
cool. We'll
But-
save that for the end, like on the financial.
I have actually never talked to Bruce about this, but when Bruce and I were in the weeds with an EPC and we were doing volume with an EPC, we were actually the largest sales organization for that EPC at the time, putting on the most installs, which this was a massive EPC. I spent so much time myself in the weeds with problems. I don't know that this didn't actually save me a bunch of time delegating it and getting in the weeds with Bruce and the team we built to actually bring it in-house. Now I'm not dealing with problems. I'm just dealing with normal business things that I would deal with anyway. I'm not just trying to fix somebody else's business model and cover their mistakes.
Well, you hit on something really important there. Like a lot of the problems that I've seen from the solar world is because I'm not the big guy. I'm not the one selling the most. I'm selling, a few solar jobs here and there. And to the EPCs, we're small, not a priority. If we lost them because we didn't fulfill, that's okay. So yeah, we're going to put them off because I have to fulfill Jay's work because Jay's selling the most. I got to try and keep them happy. But you just said, even at the biggest guy, they're not keeping you happy.
Terrible.
Yeah, they try to do their best, but the reality is communication is just not where it needs to be. And when a homeowner calls up one of Jay's sales reps and says, "What's the process of my roof? Where is it currently at?" Jay's rep can go into his CRM and tell that homeowner exactly where that project's at and exactly what to lay down for proper expectations to the homeowner. So what happens is in solar is you're selling this product and you're saying, yep, this should be installed in probably 2 months to 3 months at the worst case. And that's a big false expectation, because then what happens is it takes 6 months to a year to even be turned on after it's installed. And
it shouldn't take that long, right?
No.
Okay.
Nope. I mean, you're dealing with a proposal, you're dealing with simple permit processes, and that there are some counties that are a little bit longer for permitting than others. The utility, those are the two major hiccups as timeline is concerned. But when you're running those things in-house, it's a lot quicker to be done rather than hopefully whoever is doing that process for this big EPC, when that project gets in their hands is when they'll deal with it, right? So
yeah,
there's
and
there's not enough hands in the pot, and there's not enough bandwidth for these big EPCs. So whenever your project comes to the top of the line or the top of the pile is when they're going to deal with that.
Yeah. So if you think about incentive, and incentive is a big reason why any of us do anything that we do. The incentive to me, it seems like for the EPC company would have put them on at least, like get them on so I can say I pounded the last nail so the finance company can pay me. Exactly. But when that happens, they don't care about anything else. And there's a lot that actually happens afterwards, right? Like the hookup and all that other good stuff.
So that's what a lot of EPC companies actually do. And a lot of those companies are actually also doing that project before permits are even actually approved.
Oh, okay. So
imagine that nightmare, right? But then, like you said, you hit the nail on the head, is they're trying to get, so even these big ones, they're trying to get the jobs installed. But when you're the biggest EPC in the country and you've got thousands and thousands of jobs in your pipeline, well, when Mary Smith is waiting 4 months, it doesn't matter because there's a lot of other projects that are getting done before that. So it's just not prioritized. The communication is horrible. And all that needs, the homeowner doesn't need their solar in 2 months. They need to know the proper expectations from the beginning, and they need to have proper communication throughout the whole process, knowing exactly where their project's at.
And they also don't care because they didn't sell it. So when the 1-star review comes, it's not going to be on them.
Yeah,
exactly.
Man, those are amazing points. So let's talk about myth number 4. I'm at the mercy of the big box finance options. Hard product to sell with these dealer fees and interest rates. I've seen this an awful lot in this world. Like that's like why I don't even suggest doing solar if you're going to use one of those finance options, because it's just simply greed and theft to me. Like I can't even sleep at night.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
There's a time and place that big box finance option. I mean, sometimes I've had people in situations that just have a credit score. They really want financing, just like a car. You have to have a car. Some people pay 29% interest on a car right now. I don't think that's ethical or whatever, but if a consumer does it, they at least know, and they're told at the very beginning, you're paying 29% interest on this car. So whatever, they made that choice for themselves and they decided it's worth it. I'm using that specific number.
They used to not do that, by the way. They used to not do that in your finance world. And because of the finance world for cars doing what solar is doing currently, the government stepped in and required, like, whenever you sit down, you go through finance, it's how much are you spending all out? What is your interest rate? Like, you had to be clear about all those things, and it got changed because they were literally like charging egregious numbers. So I see something like that happening in our world too.
Yeah, and if I could chime in here, and I kind of touched on this a few minutes ago, is you're at the mercy as a sales organization for these installers. You're at the mercy of their finance options that they've partnered with, and you have no other options, right? Unless you tell the homeowner to go find their own financing, which is not going to make your sale any easier, right?
No, that's the last thing I want to do.
Exactly. Well, the biggest problem with that is that, and there's a lot of, I don't know if anyone saw or if you saw, Jim, but a lot of these big box finance companies are currently being sued by the state of Minnesota because these sales reps are selling this product that they're failing to let the homeowners know that there's this massive dealer fee on the front end sticker price. These massive dealer fees aren't even in the contract when you read the contract as the homeowner.
They're nowhere. They're
nowhere to be found. And why would the sales rep tell the homeowner about them? Because that's only going to hurt their sale. Hey, I can get you this great interest rate, but not to mention it's going to add $25,000 on the front end sticker price. Of course, they're not going to tell you that, right?
Right.
So
it's just going to be, that's the sticker price. Like,
exactly.
Instead of doing a $25,000 solar system, it's a $50,000.
And we're going to get you the best interest rates, but this is what the price is, right?
Yeah. And they don't have to worry about it because there's no one coming in behind them that's doing anything different. That's going to be like, wait a second, I got a quote for the system for $17,000. What are you guys talking about?
Well, I told you, like, we're going to pull the veil back today and probably irritate. I'm sure there's probably an EPC company watching this. We promoted this pretty heavily, so too bad. Just deal with it. It's the truth, and we're gonna share the truth out there.
Maybe they'll learn something. I mean, because the reality is, we want solar to be here for a long time. Solar is a product that should only be doing this, and it's plateaued like this because of all the pitfalls that we're currently today speaking about. And it doesn't need to be like that. And the problem is that there's never been a company that's doing exactly what we're doing to make the change in the industry to actually help out the end consumer, because everyone's making money off of this dealer model.
Yeah. All right. So let's get to myth 4. We want to get through this in a timely fashion if we can, but it's great, valuable information so far. So myth number 5, it's going to take me a year and a fortune to figure all this out. Jay, you're like, yep, it will. Or more.
Well, it took me longer and a fortune to figure it out, but hopefully that's not the experience for you, just due to the processes and the actual software and classroom experiences that we've built out in our courses.
Yeah, so it took us over a year to figure out all this, and we spent a lot of time and money and made a lot of mistakes along the way. And we finally found a way to perfect what it is that we're trying to do by bringing solar sales and installations in-house. And myself and Jay got together. We said, we got to get this out there. We got to get this out to the world. And in a 3-month timeline, we can show you guys how to bring solar sales and installs completely in-house.
Sweet. And start making your first sales. Like, hey, within 3 months, you're making your first sales, not years from now. And this is from me. These guys aren't here to like sell their stuff and that type of thing. But if somebody has done it before and they're doing a good job of it, why don't I just pay them to learn what it is that they have instead of beating my head against a wall and losing money for a long period of time, lots of mistakes and all the other stuff, when I could just shorten the time frame and get there faster. So this is not true. It could take you a year if you went out there and tried to like figure it all out, but there are ways to solve that. We're going to share those with you today. So let's talk about the systems. Like, now we know what all the myths are, all the problems, all the other good stuff. And we had a bit of a breakthrough. And so you have actually 2 sides of the business that we're talking about here. So the art of selling solar and the installation side. So just Share a little bit about that.
Yeah, we started out building out a really badass solar sales course that really can take somebody that doesn't know anything about how solar works to really understand everything from point A to point Z to become a master closer. And we built that course initially to lay out to all of Jay's sales reps and all the different markets that home restoration is currently in for just in-house training. And then we said, well, we need to pivot from this dealer model that we were currently stuck in and start installing our own solar. So we brought those two things together, and then we had an epiphany saying, we can't just be this training company. We need to actually get our product out there, because we found out exactly how this needs to be done. And Jay, this was actually Jay's idea to say, we need to let contractors know how to escape this dealer model. And we are not just a training company. We don't just have training videos. Yes, both of our training courses are badass, and you're going to learn a lot of really awesome stuff from it. But there's always going to be the what do I do next question. And we understood that, right? So what we put together is something called our Solar Biz Accelerator, which is a consulting piece and a consulting package platform that we hold contractors' hands every step of the way in 3 months to basically take what it is that they've learned from our courses, to be able to bring that to fruition in a 3-month timeline. And we've got a lot of really awesome deliverables along the way, which you'll see here in a second. But we hold their hand every step of the way so they don't make those mistakes and have to spend all that money to then just say 6 months to a year down the road, I don't want to do this, I quit.
Yeah. And that was the thing I saw in this that was what made it valuable. You see all kinds of training videos on selling solar, like those exist.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this about y'all's. Very well done. They are top notch, world class level on that side of things. But you're right. There is this what do I do next thing. I learned this. I watched this video. I practiced it, and I know how to do it. I could actually go and sell it today. But then what happens, right?
Yeah.
And so this is where you guys need to, or felt the need to, be hand in hand and almost like a guide, right? Like, hey, I'm going to guide you along, but I'm also going to hold you accountable. Like you're spending money on this thing, so I'm going to hold you accountable to make sure it gets done.
Exactly.
And your platform and the way you do it is just unbelievable.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, is being able to, we know exactly what needs to be done and be set up. And we've perfected this process and timeline to be really seamless. And yes, you hit the nail on the head. The biggest thing is accountability. If you are going to pay for any consulting service, you should want to be held accountable, right? Imagine, paying someone to be great at something and they don't hold you accountable. So we have a whole platform and system and process that is a really beautiful and perfected thing that allows us to stay really organized while holding accountability on both ends of the stick.
Well, that was the thing. Like whenever I first talked with you guys, we've alluded a couple of times that we did a webinar a couple of months ago. And I'm like, I'm not doing another one until I see proof of the pudding. Like, hey, let's actually see that somebody is able to get up and running before we do this. And you guys always say 3 months, but literally you've got people that have been at 2 months making their first solar sales already, right?
Yeah, we've got a company in Minnesota that's actually ready to sell their first deal, and it's only been about a month and a week. So,
wow. Yep. So it's all about them, really. Like how fast can you go through it? How fast can you retain the information?
Yep.
Use it and implement it. But I think 3 months is a good, fair time with it. And this Solar Business Accelerator is what allows that to happen.
Correct.
Anything else on this? Anybody?
No, you can keep it.
Right, let's move on. So let's talk about this Solar Biz Accelerator readiness model. All right. So explain a little bit about what that is.
Yeah, this is something that we are really proud of in-house. And our other business partner, Ryan Finn, who's really the brains behind all of our in-house portals that were built, this current state analysis, which is a beautiful product. There's really no one in the industry doing anything like this. And what we do is we put you through our intake form that really allows us to understand who you are as a company. And what this does is it allows us to score you off of your current 5 pillars of your company, which is operations, procurement, marketing, sales, and financing. In order to be a really good solar sales and installation company, you got to be pretty damn good at all of these things in order to be a successful solar sales and installation company. So what we do is when we onboard our clients, we score them off of this card off of the data that they provided us with. And then in a 3-month goal, what we do is we put them through our customized portal for their company that essentially replicates this current state analysis. Okay, so now what we do is in that 3-month period of timeline, their SOPs, their legal contracts, training materials, everything that you see on this card, we replicate and put into a customized action plan portal that we hit and check the box off of all of these things in a 3-month timeline. Not to mention a lot more. We basically set up all of their marketing for them. We set them up with all of their distributors, all of their sub labor crews that they're going to need, their SOPs, their training materials, their financing that has 0 dealer fees attached. I mean, you name it, we've got it. And then we put them through their customized portal, which was also built in-house by my business partner, Ryan. And this is a task by task driven thing. And like you said on the last slide, Jim, is it really allows us to hold each other accountable. Us hold them accountable and them hold us accountable, because under the tasks is where it's going to have all of those stages. So the 5 pillars of their company is basically broken out into 5 stages. And every time they complete a task, we're notified, and it's our turn to complete a task. And when we complete it, they're notified. So imagine you saying, hey, it's been 2 weeks since you were supposed to complete this task. We got to get on top of this.
Yeah.
And it allows us to be organized because we've got quite a few companies and clients that we have onboarded already to make sure that we're not missing a beat.
This is the beautiful part of it to me. It was first part is like, hey, we understand where you're at as a company. And so these are the things that you're actually pretty good at, things that you're weak at. We're going to need to spend extra attention there. We're not as much there. And you can actually speed up or slow down the process based on their readiness to get out there and do it. And then once you figure out what that is, like, boom, here's your custom design plan. Here's the task you need to do. Here's the schedule to do it on, and what we're going to do to help you facilitate and hold your hand along the way. So it works unbelievably well from everything that we've been able to see so far. And so in this Solar Biz Accelerator package, what all, I mean, you've shared a lot of them already, but this is how inclusive it is. When I first saw this slide, I'm like, God, there's a lot of words on there, and they're really small and all that other good stuff. So
I'm gonna say this. Ryan Finn was introduced to me by Bruce because Bruce was like, Jay, if we're gonna take this and we're gonna do this at the level of expectation you have, I have a guy we have to bring on board. I don't even know if we can get him to come on board, but we got to at least give it a shot. I met with Ryan. I was like, this guy is going to be on your team as one of our clients. He is a legitimate contract attorney by degree and by trade that dropped his career and poured himself into this company. And he is brilliant. So when you see things on here like branded legal contract templates, that might sound like something that we pulled off of a Google search. That is not the case. This is literally custom built for you based off of your current state of analysis.
Yeah, everything is custom branded. So you hit the nail on the head, Jay. So Ryan has been a really great friend of mine. He's got his law degree, went to Vanderbilt and got his law degree at Indiana University. Brilliant mind. He's a lot of the brains behind allowing us to really make this even happen. Without him, a lot of this couldn't have happened. And yeah, SOPs. Imagine all the companies that don't have standard SOPs for their business. We've got hundreds of marketing SOPs and regular SOPs for their internal operation. That's all custom branded. All of their training that's going to be every time we upload. And by the way, all of the training, they'll always forever have that. And we're always adding new content to it. So after 3 months, they always have that. All of their legal custom branded contracts with state-by-state verbiage included, so nothing's missed there. Basically, all of your distributors and any affiliates for materials that you're going to need, we set you up with. All of your financing that has 0 dealer fees. This is so big. I want to take a second to talk about.
Hey, 1 second before you continue. We did get a question from one of the viewers out there. Sure. Any states you're not working in? Is there any states that this does not work in?
So no, great question. There's only a few states that we don't have clients in currently, but as we're happy to dive into a new market. So solar is available in all 50 states. What I would say is if you're, in Alaska, or if you're in South or North Dakota, it might not be the most optimal sun throughout the year, but yeah, we can dive into any state.
Yeah, that'd be a really good situation for maybe doing a demo call with you guys and going, hey, doing an analysis on the state that you're in there. Rufalangelo. So that's the name on the guy. So I would suggest hanging out for a minute here. We're going to share some links with you guys, and you can get a lot of those questions that are like state specific and municipality specific answered.
Yeah, I want to dive in really quick and take a second to talk about the importance of offering finance with zero dealer fees. So like Jay said, you've got every time, let's just say as a homeowner, you say, hey, I want to go solar. What are you going to do? You're going to go on Google and you're going to type in solar companies in Springfield, Missouri, and you're going to get a quote from the top 5 ones that you see. And then you're going to hear them all out, and you're probably going to choose somewhere in the middle of the road between the most expensive and least expensive and the guy that also left the best impression. Well, imagine being a killer sales rep, and coming in with a product that's $20,000 to $40,000 cheaper than every other quote. That's what a zero dealer fee finance can do. So you're going to win a lot more jobs by offering ethical products and not affecting how much commission you're making on that project. We're not asking you to lower your commission. We're asking
we want to be really clear.
Those dealer fees anyway.
Yeah, we want to be really clear. Those finance lender partners that you have, it's more than one, so it's not just one, but it's also not required. There's some other tools that you guys give to people for local lenders and stuff like that that's included in this process.
I actually, in the middle of this, got married and this journey, and my wife is a commercial lender. She's now a stay-at-home mom since our son has been born. But that was something that I, as a roofing contractor and a successful business person, I'd always struggled with good financing options anyway. Nevertheless, now adding solar onto this, and she was able to sit with our team and give us so many options we never knew that was even available or possible. That's in any market.
That's awesome.
And then I'll just stop there. So the question that we brought up earlier, while I don't have in-house crews, I know how to do this. We've got vetted sub crews in like 32 states right now and counting. Our job is to find those sub crews for you, vet them out, so you don't have to worry about that daunting task. All of the proposal software. So we use 2 different softwares that we can offer. One complimentary, one is SolarGraph, which is really the best in the industry, and we give you that at a 50% discount rather than going directly to them. We configure that, which can be a daunting task for each client. We build your whole entire website for you from scratch with AI chatbots. We close your first deal for you. I remember when we first got on our call, Jim, talking about our first webinar, and we told you what we're offering, you started hysterically laughing at this part.
Yeah, I was like, you're going to go there and actually make sure they sell one? That's pretty awesome.
So we come out on site. It will be myself that comes out on site, and Jay actually might be there with me. He attends a couple of those as well. And for 2 days, we basically train an advanced training with your whole entire company. We close down your first deal for you, whether that's done via Zoom or on site. If it's via Zoom, we screen record it and send it to your company. And then for 3 months, we're basically a full support system for sales or anything else that might come up that you're going to need our handholding with. So there's nothing missed. So in a 3-month period of timeline, we build your whole entire company, sales and installation company for you / with you. And then by the time that we offboard you, we give you a new current state analysis that shows that there's 3 to 4 stars on every one of those pillars, rather than probably 1 stars when we onboarded you.
Okay. So a lot. Like I sit there and like, man, this system, that was the thing that attracted me to the conversation in the first place. Was like, man, I've seen a million sell solar things. I am not interested. But this is not just, that's just one little piece of this. It's all these other pieces that bring the whole thing together, which got me really excited. Like, hey, okay, I like the idea. Let's go see if it works. We did the webinar. It worked. Now it's like, okay, let's go give them the rest of the story. Let's get deeper into it. Let's get a little bit more clarity on what it is that we're actually offering and doing for folks. So great job on that, guys. It's one of those things like, why in the world would you not do this?
Yeah. So what I want to say really quick is if you're a roofing contractor and you're listening to this And I know that Jay can attest to this because Jay's the roofer. I'm not the roofer. I'm the solar guy, and Jay's going to forever be the roofer. And what I will say is solar will become your strongest tool in your tool belt that you currently don't have. And if you want to touch on what I mean there, Jay, and what it actually allows a sales rep or a homeowner to take advantage of, I'd love to hear that come out from you, Jay.
I mean, I could spend another hour talking about the benefits of having solar in your sales toolbox. The main thing that I like as a business owner is cost of lead acquisitions. Everybody should know that number. Everybody knows roofing leads are expensive to get, especially in saturated markets, but saturated markets are saturated for a reason because those are the best markets to have offices in. However, every solar lead is a roof lead. Solar leads cost of acquisition is significantly lower. So I might not close every solar lead I get, but I'm the only roofer that walks out there on their property. They're not looking for new roofs. They're looking for solar. And I get to have my guys in front of them presenting a completely different perspective of, hey, your roof's 20 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you really want to put solar on a 20-year? That's not a good idea. And that's the other bad thing about EPCs and those sales organizations. Like they didn't care. They would just go put a solar system on a 20-year-old roof. Yes. And that really is doing a disservice to the
yeah, we're actually here to make the house more efficient. You might not need a 15 kilowatt system. You might need a 6 kilowatt system, but you need a new HVAC system and new windows or a new roof. You might need insulation. So the biggest thing is, and again, this comes down to the ethics of the industry, right? No matter what it is that you're doing, is not just slapping glass and not actually fixing the issue. It's what can we do to make this house more efficient? But the biggest thing too is really being able to offer a product that can become the solution for a lot of homeowners' issues when it comes to the re-roof project.
Yeah.
So when you are dealing with a lot of roofing contractors that are dealing with a lot of crazy storms out there, and this might hit home for some of you guys, all of these re-roof projects that hail is hitting, well, the deductible might be 2, 5, 10 grand, whatever that number might be. How many times have you heard a homeowner say, give me a few months to come up with this money, or I simply can't afford it?
Yeah.
Right. So this allows the bridge to be built that allows homeowners to get that re-roof project $0 out of their bank or out of their pocket to tie some of those costs in, or a re-roof upgrade. So, Jay knows this best. You might have a shingle roof, but you want to upgrade to a standing seam metal or whatever it may be, a presidential. Well, that's going to be an additional 14 grand. I know you really want that roof, but you can't afford it out of pocket. Solar can be the beautiful bridge that brings those two things together.
Well, like Jay said, we could probably talk another hour on this thing, but the thing we haven't talked about is how solar relates to insurance work that's out there. We have a lot of roofing contractors that do insurance work, and how that makes the selling situation so much easier. It makes a lot more sense financially. There's all those aspects. So maybe our next webinar will be that, like insurance restoration contractor, how do you implement solar into what you do? But as everybody can see, this is an amazing system. You really can't miss plan for ambitious contractors to build a generational wealth through an ethical and wildly profitable solar company. So what's next? What do we do next? You guys have watched the webinar, hung out with us. So what are some of the things that you can do next? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to let Bruce share with you guys a little bit about these things, and I'm going to start dropping some links in for those things. So I'm going to drop a calculator link in.
Yeah, so thank you for everyone that attended this and stuck around. Like we promised you, we're going to offer you our current state analysis, which is going to be a link to basically allow us to send you the intake form, and we'll build you out your current state analysis, and then also a solar profit calculator. This is where you're able to see what's currently happening out there in the dealer model and comparing it to basically our way by bringing things in-house, and how much more money you're going to make per job by escaping what's currently prevalent out there in the industry.
Yeah. So I put the first one in there, the calculator, which gets you the other one too. It'll get you both of them. And then I'm also going to drop a link in for setting up a demo, so you guys can actually see the system and see it live, walk through it with Bruce and his team. The other thing I want to mention, those of you that are watching on webinar right now, They mentioned Ryan. Ryan's superstar, who's on top of stuff, Mr. Technology and everything. He's going to be sending everybody that signed up for the webinar these links so that they can go ahead and hop on. He should be doing it, I hope, right now, getting it out to everybody so that they can get their calculator and all that good stuff. I want to add one last little thing. This is like a 3-step thing. Get the links to your free bonuses. Go do those. Go get a demo. It doesn't cost you anything except for a little bit of time to really learn, like, is this the right thing for me to do? And they are short on amount of class they can take on. So get in quickly. But really that third step to me is like 2-3 months from now, you're implemented and you're ready to go with that final step, which is to finally start selling some solar at a profitable number that you can put your head on the pillow at night with. So any final words, Bruce, Jay?
Yeah, I don't want to be gimmicky about the 10 new clients, but it's such an in-depth, hands-on training process that we're not going to dilute our product that we deliver to you by trying to take on too many people on our end. We're going to keep a number where we can give you the amount of attention and the amount of one-on-one that we can handle and that you'll need to actually launch this on an effective and quick timeline.
So I'm adding one more thing here because Ryan got it to me. If you want to get the current state analysis, there's an email that I just put in there, info@selling-solar.com. Shoot them an email and they'll get you access to that as well.
Book a demo. Don't be the guy that doesn't book the demo. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's worth it for sure. And so that kind of takes care of our Contractor Radio show /webinar /educational masterclass on solar. Hey guys, thanks a lot for being here. Really, truthfully, like I'm a believer now.
Thanks for having us, man. We appreciate being on with you, and you've been a really great advocate.
Hey, that was another thing, just real quick. Like after the last one, after the last one that we did, I got like 1 million phone calls. Do you trust these guys? Do you trust these guys? Do you trust these guys? And I'm like, yeah, I trust them. Like seriously, I would not have put them on. I know a lot about Jay and Jay's background. He's a dude that you can put your full trust in, and they proved it. Like they actually went and did what they said they were going to do. So more than happy to do this with you guys, and don't let me down. Like that's the key. Like just don't let me down. That's all I ask.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you for having us on. You've been a great advocate on what we do, and stay tuned for the next one.
Yeah.
Excited to see you guys on these demos. And Jim, thank you so much.
Hey, no problem at all. I'm going to put that demo link in there one more time just to make sure that everybody got it. And that'll be on any of our posts out there. You webinar folks, you hopefully are getting it in your email right now, and get those demos set up and go get some solar done. Like that is it's like selling 2 roofs at once and maybe almost 3 sometimes. So really cool to see. Thanks, guys. Thanks to all you listeners out there on Contractor Radio as I banged the heck out of my mic there. Sorry about that if you heard that. And we will check you out on our next episode of Contractor Radio.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks.